Have you ever just woken up and felt lost? Like, really lost, not knowing who you are or why you're even here? Maybe you stare at the ceiling for a while, watching the shadows move, and ask yourself, why me? Why this life? It's okay if you have. Maybe everyone does it at some point. Maybe you wondered why you were born into your family, why things happen the way they do, why some days feel light and others heavy. It's normal to ask. I've been there too, lying in bed, thinking maybe life is no point. And maybe that's where curiosity begins, quietly like a little nudge. Some people say life is luck. Others say it's fate, some big plan we can't understand. But maybe sometimes those answers just don't feel right. They leave you still looking. And that's okay too. That's when I started thinking about what the Buddha said, not in some old dusty book, but in a way that makes sense in real life. He didn't say life is about luck, and he didn't say it's about punishment or reward. He said it's about causes and conditions. Things happen because of other things. Maybe it's like planting a seed. If you plant an apple seed, you get an apple tree, not an orange tree. Maybe the life you have now, your body, your family, your moments, they come from seeds planted long before, even before you were born. It's not magic. It's not punishment. It's just life. I remember meeting a woman who always helped others, even when she had almost nothing. She wasn't doing it to get something back. She just did it. And over time, people surrounded her with care. Her life felt warmer, fuller. Maybe it was karma. Maybe it was life noticing. But the point is, she wasn't lucky in some mysterious way. She was planting seeds. And maybe that's true for all of us. But here's something important. The past doesn't trap you. It's okay if you made mistakes. It's okay if you feel stuck sometimes. Your past brought you here, but it doesn't decide where you go next. Maybe you feel tired. Maybe it feels too heavy. It's okay. You still have the choice to move, slowly, step by step. I met a man once who grew up with almost nothing. No money, no guidance, nothing that seemed helpful. He could have given up, maybe turned bitter. But he didn't. He learned, he worked, he grew. He made his life different. Maybe that's you too. Your past is just the starting point. You don't have to be defined by it. It's okay to begin again. Maybe this life feels unfair sometimes. Maybe you looked around and wondered, why is it so hard? It's okay to feel that way. Life can be rough. But maybe it's not punishment. Maybe it's an opportunity, a strange, beautiful opportunity to learn, to try, to grow. Some people spend their lives chasing pleasure, some chasing wealth, some just getting by. And maybe that's okay too. But maybe there's a chance to do something different, a chance to pay attention, to notice small moments, to be a little kinder, to be a little wiser. It's not easy. Maybe it never will be. But even the smallest choice can change something, even if you don't see it right away. I remember thinking about a child born into a hard life. Maybe their home is difficult. Maybe school is far. Maybe hope feels small. And maybe that feels hopeless. But maybe, just maybe, that child can learn, grow, change the path. That's the gift of being human. We can reflect. We can pause. We can change. And maybe that's why life isn't random. You're not here by accident. You're here because of all the choices that came before, and maybe because of all the choices you can make now. And maybe science agrees too. Your brain, your mind is not fixed. It changes. Slowly, quietly, with practice. Maybe you felt stuck in old habits. Maybe stuck in anger, sadness, worry. That's okay. Maybe it's time to plant different seeds. Little things. pausing before you speak, noticing your breath, being a little kinder. It might feel weird at first. Maybe it will feel like forcing yourself down a path you haven't walked before. But slowly, the path clears. You feel different, maybe calmer, maybe lighter, maybe more present. That's life reshaping itself. And maybe that's what the Buddha meant. Life is this rare chance. It's like a blind turtle swimming in the vast ocean, surfacing once every 100 years, hoping to poke its head through a floating ring. Maybe it sounds impossible, but maybe we're here now, alive, aware, with a chance to grow, to notice, to change. That's rare. That's precious. Maybe you feel like time slips by. Maybe the days blur. Maybe you forget to just be. That's okay. Maybe you can take a moment now, breathe, notice. Maybe the sunset, the breeze, the warmth around you, it's enough. Maybe that's all it takes to begin seeing life differently. And now, what will you do with this life? Maybe start small. Maybe notice one choice today. Maybe choose kindness. Maybe choose patience. Maybe notice a thought without judgment. Maybe these little seeds grow into something bigger. Maybe tomorrow you try again. Maybe the day after, again. It's okay if it's slow. Maybe it never feels perfect. And that's okay, too. Just keep showing up. Maybe that's the point. Maybe life isn't about grand gestures or being good. Maybe it's about being present, about noticing, about planting seeds, even if you can't see the fruit yet. Maybe this is your chance. Maybe you're ready. Maybe you can start now. And maybe, if you want, we can walk this path together. So if this feels like something you want to explore, maybe consider subscribing. Maybe we'll share more quiet moments, more stories, more chances to notice life as it is. Maybe you'll find something in these words that stays with you. Maybe not today, maybe later. But maybe it matters that you begin. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to start shaping a life that feels alive, open, and a little lighter. Just for today, just for now. Maybe you've noticed that life sometimes feels like a series of small, invisible pushes. Some days it's light, some days heavy, and sometimes it's just gray. Maybe you've wondered, why is it like this? It's okay to feel that way. Maybe we all do. And maybe that's the place where life quietly asks us to pay attention. You see, your life isn't just a punishment or a reward. Maybe you felt guilty before, like the hard moments are because you did something wrong. Maybe you felt like the good times came just because you somehow earned them. But maybe that's not really how it works. Maybe life is more like momentum, like rolling down a hill. You can't always see how it started, but you notice how it moves. The bumps, the turns, they aren't punishments. They're just the path you're on, shaped by what came before. And maybe that's the good news. You can always change direction. You don't have to keep rolling in the same way. Maybe it's small, maybe it's quiet, maybe it feels like nothing is changing. And that's okay, too. Even small steps count. Maybe it's noticing your breath in the morning. Maybe it's saying a kind word instead of holding back. Maybe it's choosing to pause instead of reacting. All of these things are small, and maybe small is exactly what life needs sometimes. I remember thinking about someone I met, a child born into difficulty. Maybe the home was hard. Maybe opportunities felt far away. Maybe it seemed impossible to grow, to change, to find light. But maybe, slowly, they can. Maybe with patience, maybe with care, maybe with small choices every day. It doesn't erase the past. It doesn't erase the struggle. But maybe it shifts the path just a little. And maybe that's how life works. Little by little. One day, one choice at a time. Maybe that's enough. And maybe what's beautiful is that humans get this chance. Other creatures follow instinct, but we can reflect, we can pause, we can notice. Maybe that's why being alive, being human, is such a gift. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've hurt people or failed yourself. Maybe you carry that weight still. It's okay. Maybe the point isn't perfection. Maybe it's just showing up again. Maybe it's the soft courage to keep trying, to keep noticing, to keep planting seeds. And maybe those seeds, though invisible at first, slowly grow. Maybe your life is like a garden, and maybe every thought you have, every choice you make, every little act of kindness or patience is a seed. Maybe some days it feels like nothing grows, and maybe that's okay. Maybe it takes seasons, maybe it takes storms, but maybe it grows anyway. I've seen it. I've felt it. Maybe you've too, in quiet moments. Maybe when you smiled at someone unexpectedly. Maybe when someone smiled back. Maybe when you realized you could forgive yourself just a little. These things matter. Maybe they matter more than we can see. And maybe that's what the Buddha wanted to show. Not rules, not answers in books, but the quiet, real possibility in every day. Maybe it's hidden in the small, ordinary moments, and maybe it's waiting for you to notice. And maybe that's why it's so important to be present. Maybe you've been rushing, maybe worrying, maybe planning so far ahead you forget to breathe. It's okay. Maybe you can pause now. Maybe notice the air on your skin, the light in the room, the quiet rhythm of your heartbeat. Maybe that's enough to start. Maybe life isn't about big, grand gestures. Maybe it's about small awareness, small choices, small acts of kindness. Maybe it's okay if it feels soft, quiet, slow. Maybe that's the way life changes, gently, subtly, quietly, until one day you notice something different. And maybe that's what we're all learning. Maybe it's okay if it doesn't make sense yet. Maybe the meaning is in the trying, the noticing, the showing up. And maybe, if this feels like something you want to explore, maybe you can subscribe and walk this quiet path with me. Maybe we can notice life together. Maybe share these little awakenings. Maybe help each other see the rare and precious chance we have to be alive, right now, just as we are. Maybe that's enough for today. Maybe just noticing is enough. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe that's what life really is. One soft, small, beautiful moment at a time. Maybe you've noticed that sometimes life feels like it's moving too fast, or maybe too slow. Maybe days blur together, and maybe you wonder if you're missing something. It's okay. Maybe that feeling is just a reminder to slow down just a little. Maybe you can notice the small things, the light falling on the floor, the sound of leaves outside, the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. Maybe these tiny moments are teaching you something quietly, softly. Maybe being human is really about noticing these small, ordinary things, and maybe seeing how they connect to the bigger story of your life. Maybe you felt stuck, maybe trapped by old habits, old mistakes, old worries. It's okay. Maybe those things are just part of the path you've walked so far. Maybe they brought you here, to this moment, to this chance to begin again. Maybe life is full of beginnings, even when it doesn't feel like it. Maybe the past doesn't control you. Maybe it whispers, maybe it nudges, maybe it reminds. But maybe it doesn't decide. Maybe what matters is the next step, even a small one. Maybe it's pausing before you speak. Maybe noticing a thought before you act. Maybe letting a moment of anger pass without following it. Maybe these tiny steps are how life changes, softly, slowly, almost invisibly, until one day you look back and realize you've moved. Maybe you've seen people who seem strong, who seem calm, and maybe you think they were born that way. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they practiced patience. Maybe they noticed themselves falling and got up again. Maybe they started small. Maybe just a little each day. And maybe that's how any of us can do it. Maybe life isn't about the big leaps. Maybe it's about the quiet, consistent steps. Maybe that's enough. Maybe the choices you make every day, soft, small, gentle, are shaping who you are, even when you don't notice. Maybe life is more like a garden than a battlefield. Maybe each thought, each word, each little act of kindness or attention is a seed. Maybe some days it feels like nothing is growing. Maybe some days it feels invisible. Maybe that's okay. Maybe the growth is happening anyway, in ways you can't yet see. Maybe being human is this gift, to notice, to reflect, to change, to grow. Maybe you've wasted time before. Maybe you felt regret. Maybe you wished for another chance. Maybe the beautiful thing is, you have one right now. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's soft. Maybe it doesn't feel like much. But maybe it's enough to begin again. Maybe today, just today, you can notice something. Your breath, your hands, your heartbeat. Maybe you can choose one gentle act of kindness. Maybe for yourself, maybe for someone else. Maybe it's okay if it's small. Maybe these small things are what shift your life over time. Maybe the Buddha's words aren't about rules or lectures. Maybe they're about this quiet possibility. Maybe you want to show that life is rare, that being human is a chance, and maybe that chance is now. Maybe you'll stumble, maybe you'll fall, maybe you'll forget sometimes. That's okay. Maybe the path isn't straight. Maybe it's winding, maybe it's soft, maybe it's rocky. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe what matters is showing up, maybe noticing, maybe planting seeds, maybe being here, right now. Maybe that's enough to start shaping your days. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe and keep walking together, quietly, softly, seeing life in its small, precious moments. Maybe the rare chance to be alive is here. Maybe it's now. Maybe it's yours to notice. Maybe it's yours to care for. And maybe that's what life really asks of us. Just to be here, just to notice, just to begin again one soft step at a time. Maybe that's enough for today. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe that's all it takes to shape a life that feels a little lighter, a little more awake, a little more ours. Maybe you've noticed that life sometimes feels like it's slipping through your fingers, like the moments pass too quickly, like you're always chasing something just out of reach. Maybe you felt that quiet ache, the one that whispers, "Am I missing something? Am I doing enough?" It's okay. Maybe everyone feels that at some point. Maybe the point isn't to have it all figured out. Maybe it's just to notice. Maybe life is like walking on a winding path in the forest. Sometimes the way forward is clear. Sometimes it's hidden under leaves. Maybe you trip. Maybe you pause. Maybe you catch your breath. And maybe that's exactly what matters. Just moving slowly, gently, seeing what's right in front of you. Maybe you've carried worries. Maybe you've carried old fears. Maybe you've thought you're stuck. It's okay. Maybe the past shaped you. Maybe it hurt you. Maybe it whispered doubts into your heart. But maybe it doesn't define you. Maybe the present is soft and open, waiting for you to notice it, waiting for you to step into it, gently, maybe just one small step at a time. Maybe life is full of little miracles that we overlook. Maybe it's the sunlight through a window. Maybe it's a kind word. Maybe it's a quiet pause before sleep. Maybe it's noticing your own heartbeat. Maybe these small things are more important than we imagine. Maybe that's why being human is rare. Maybe animals follow instinct. Maybe they survive. Maybe they thrive in their own way. But maybe we get this strange, gentle gift, the ability to reflect, to pause, to notice, to choose. Maybe that's why it matters to slow down sometimes. Maybe to just breathe and see where you are. Maybe you felt anger, maybe resentment, maybe frustration. Maybe it's okay to feel that. Maybe what matters is that you notice it. Maybe that you let it soften. Maybe that you don't let it take over. Maybe kindness begins there, quietly, softly, inside you first, before it reaches anyone else. Maybe it's okay if it feels small. Maybe small is exactly what life needs. Maybe you've looked at people who seem calm, maybe wise, maybe happy, and maybe you've thought, I can't be like that. Maybe you can. Maybe it's just practice. Maybe tiny, gentle steps every day. Maybe noticing a thought. Maybe taking a breath. Maybe choosing one little act of kindness. Maybe pausing before reacting. Maybe that's enough. Maybe life doesn't ask for perfection. Maybe it asks for presence. Maybe being here, noticing, caring, stepping gently. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe your life is like a garden. Maybe your thoughts, your words, your actions, they're seeds. Maybe some days it feels like nothing grows. Maybe some days it feels invisible. Maybe that's okay. Maybe the growth is happening quietly, slowly, until one day you notice the change. Maybe that's the magic. Maybe this life is rare. Maybe being here awake, breathing, noticing, maybe that's a gift you don't want to waste. Maybe you've wasted time before. Maybe you've doubted yourself. Maybe that's okay. Maybe the chance to start again is here, right now. Maybe you don't need to fix everything. Maybe you just need to notice. Maybe to choose one gentle thing today. Maybe to plant one small seed. Maybe tomorrow you plant another. Maybe the day after, another. Maybe that's how life slowly changes. Softly, quietly, gently. Maybe that's how your life can grow into something meaningful, even when it doesn't feel obvious. Maybe it's okay if it's slow. Maybe it's okay if it's soft. Maybe that's exactly how it should be. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe we can continue noticing together. Maybe sharing these quiet moments. Maybe reminding each other the rare chance we have to be alive. Maybe right now, maybe here. Maybe life is just one soft, small, precious step at a time. Maybe that's enough for today. Maybe tomorrow we try again. And maybe that's a journey. Slow, quiet, alive, gentle, and yours to notice, yours to shape, and maybe that's enough. Maybe you've noticed that life sometimes feels like it's moving without you, like the days pass and you barely notice. Maybe you felt that quiet worry, that little voice saying, am I doing enough? Am I living right? It's okay. Maybe life isn't about doing everything perfectly. Maybe it's about noticing. Maybe it's about the small choices you make quietly, gently, every day. Maybe you felt trapped by your past. Maybe weighed down by old mistakes. Maybe afraid that the life you want is out of reach. It's okay. Maybe the past brought you here. Maybe shaped this moment. Maybe whispered doubts in your ear. But maybe it doesn't define what comes next. Maybe right now, just now, you can take a soft, small step towards something different. Maybe it's noticing your breath. Maybe pausing before speaking. Maybe letting go of one small worry. Maybe choosing kindness over irritation. Maybe noticing a single moment of beauty around you. Maybe these tiny steps seem small, maybe invisible, maybe even silly. But maybe that's exactly how life changes. Softly, quietly, almost without us realizing. Maybe you've seen people who seem calm, patient, gentle, and maybe you've thought, I could never be like that. Maybe you can. Maybe it starts with one small step, maybe one gentle choice, maybe one soft moment of awareness. Maybe each day, just a little, you plant seeds that grow in ways you can't yet see. Maybe your mind is like a garden. Maybe every thought, every word, every choice is a seed. Maybe some days it feels like nothing grows. Maybe some days it feels invisible. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the growth is happening quietly, slowly, in ways that only show over time. Maybe you felt anger, maybe frustration, maybe sadness, and maybe it felt too heavy. It's okay. Maybe noticing it, letting it soften, choosing to pause instead of react. That's enough. Maybe that's how change begins. Maybe you've been rushing, maybe worrying, maybe trying to fix everything at once. Maybe it's okay to slow down. Maybe it's okay to breathe. Maybe life isn't about perfection. Maybe it's about presence. Maybe it's about noticing. Maybe it's about planting small seeds. Maybe it's about showing up softly, gently for yourself, for others, for this rare chance to be alive. Maybe you've doubted yourself, maybe felt lost, maybe wondered if your choices even matter. It's okay. Maybe each small, soft choice counts more than you think. Maybe the smallest act of kindness, the quietest moment of awareness, the softest thought of gratitude. Maybe these are the things that shape your life, slowly, quietly, like water wearing down stone. Maybe being human is rare. Maybe this chance to reflect, to notice, to grow, to love, to be present. Maybe it's something we often overlook. Maybe it's something we often forget. But maybe now, maybe today, maybe this moment is exactly when we can begin again. Maybe the past doesn't control you. Maybe the present is yours to shape softly, gently, one small step at a time. Maybe it's okay if it feels slow. Maybe it's okay if it feels soft. Maybe that's exactly how it should be. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe we can continue noticing together. Maybe share these quiet moments. Maybe remind each other that this life, this rare, fleeting, precious life, is ours to walk, to feel, to notice, and maybe even to love softly, gently, quietly, one day at a time. Maybe that's enough for today. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe that's all it takes. Maybe that's really all it ever takes. Maybe you felt the days pass like water. Maybe the weeks blur together. Maybe you've wondered if life is slipping by too fast. It's okay. Maybe that's just life reminding you to notice, to breathe, to be present, even if only for a moment. Maybe the present is the most precious thing we have. Maybe the only real thing we truly own. Maybe the past is behind us. Maybe the future is unknown. Maybe it's easy to get lost thinking about both. It's okay. Maybe all we can really do is this moment, right now, breathing, noticing, soft, small steps, one at a time. Maybe you thought, I don't have time, or I'll do it later, and maybe that's normal. Maybe life has a way of sneaking past us if we aren't careful, if we don't pause and notice. Maybe it's okay to pause now. Maybe it's okay to just sit with your breath for a little while. Maybe noticing your hands. Maybe feeling your heart beat. Maybe seeing the light shift in the room. Maybe these tiny things, these soft moments, are more important than we realize. Maybe being present doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's gentle. Maybe it's soft. Maybe it's enough. Maybe life is giving you this rare chance, this human life, to notice, to feel, to reflect, to choose. Maybe you felt like you've wasted time. Maybe like you've missed your chance. Maybe like it's too late. It's okay. Maybe it's never too late to notice, to pause, to begin again, even if only a little. Maybe change isn't sudden. Maybe it's soft. Maybe it's slow. Maybe it grows quietly, almost invisibly, until one day you look back and see how far you've come. Maybe the smallest things matter most. Maybe one act of kindness, one gentle thought, one soft choice. Maybe they shape your life more than you know. Maybe every day is full of opportunities to plant these seeds. Maybe you've thought, I can't make a difference. Maybe it's too small. It's okay. Maybe small is enough. Maybe soft is enough. Maybe showing up, noticing, breathing, choosing one gentle thing. Maybe that's all life asks. Maybe you felt heavy, maybe burdened, maybe afraid. It's okay. Maybe you don't have to carry it all at once. Maybe you can set one small weight down. Maybe notice one small thing. Maybe soften just a little. Maybe the present is forgiving. Maybe the present is patient. Maybe the present is waiting for you to see it, to touch it, to step into it quietly, softly, gently. Maybe that's why being human is rare. Maybe that's why this moment matters. Maybe we can reflect. Maybe we can change. Maybe we can grow. Maybe we can notice beauty in small things. Maybe we can find joy even in quiet moments. Maybe it's okay if it's soft. Maybe it's okay if it's slow. Maybe that's exactly how life works. Maybe you looked at others who seem calm, wise, gentle, happy, and maybe you thought, I could never be like that. Maybe you can. Maybe it starts with just noticing, just pausing, just a soft breath, just one gentle choice. Maybe that's how change begins. Maybe life isn't about perfection. Maybe it's about presence. Maybe it's about noticing, maybe planting seeds, maybe showing up gently, softly for yourself, for others, for this rare, precious life. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe we can walk this quiet path together. Maybe notice life in its small, delicate, fleeting beauty. Maybe remind each other that this moment, this life, is rare, fragile, precious, and ours to experience softly, gently, quietly. Maybe that's enough for today. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe that's all it ever takes. Maybe showing up softly is enough. Maybe you felt small sometimes, maybe powerless. Maybe like life is moving around you and you can't catch up. It's okay. Maybe that's just part of being human. Maybe the world feels big. Maybe the days feel heavy. Maybe your thoughts feel too loud. Maybe it's okay to feel that. Maybe it's okay to admit it softly, gently to yourself. Maybe feeling small doesn't mean you're weak. Maybe it means you're aware. Maybe awareness is a first step toward change, maybe toward growth, maybe toward a softer, gentler power you didn't know you had. Maybe you've wondered what you can do with your life, maybe how to take control, maybe how to feel like you matter. Maybe the answer isn't in rushing. Maybe it isn't in forcing. Maybe it's in noticing. Maybe your thoughts, your choices, your small actions, they all carry a quiet strength. Maybe it's in these tiny, gentle things that real power grows. Maybe you've been waiting for a big moment, maybe a sign, maybe a sudden clarity. Maybe it's okay if it doesn't come. Maybe the real power is in small steps, maybe soft choices, maybe tiny acts that slowly shape your life, maybe quietly change who you are. Maybe you felt fear, maybe doubt, maybe regret. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you don't need to fix everything at once. Maybe you can take one small, gentle step, maybe just one, maybe today. Maybe that's enough. Maybe each choice, each soft act, each gentle thought is like a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Maybe you don't see the picture yet. Maybe it's still forming. Maybe it's okay. Maybe that's how life works. Soft, quiet, gradually, until one day you notice the whole shape. Maybe you've looked at people who seem strong, confident, steady, and maybe you've thought, I could never be like that. Maybe you can. Maybe it's about small, consistent choices, maybe tiny steps, maybe gentle awareness, maybe soft courage. Maybe the courage to notice your anger and let it soften. Maybe the courage to see your sadness and allow it. Maybe the courage to show kindness. Maybe the courage to be present. Maybe all of these small, soft things together build a quiet strength. Maybe an inner power that feels solid even in storms. Maybe a calm center that no one can take away. Maybe you've doubted yourself. Maybe wondered if you're enough. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you are enough. Maybe each day you try. Each day you notice. Each day you choose gently. Maybe that is enough to shape the life you want. Maybe the Buddha's teaching is simple. Maybe notice, maybe choose, maybe be gentle, maybe begin again. Maybe that's the path. Maybe it's quiet, maybe soft, maybe slow, maybe gentle, but maybe it works. Maybe you can start now. Maybe right here, maybe with a breath, maybe with a soft thought, maybe with one small, gentle action. Maybe each one matters. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe continue walking this quiet path with me. Maybe notice life. Maybe notice your own strength. Maybe notice your rare, precious human chance to live softly, gently, and fully. Maybe it's okay if it's slow. Maybe it's okay if it's soft. Maybe showing up, noticing, being gentle, being aware, that's enough. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe the steps are quiet. Maybe the changes are subtle. Maybe the power is hidden. Maybe that's exactly how it works. Maybe showing up softly, gently, moment by moment, is all it takes. Maybe you felt like life is rushing past. Maybe like you're chasing things you can't catch. Maybe like the world is too loud. It's okay. Maybe that's just life reminding you to pause, to breathe, to notice. Maybe the present moment is more important than we think. Maybe it's easy to forget that. Maybe easy to get caught in regrets or worries. Maybe easy to miss what's right in front of us. Maybe that's okay. Maybe noticing, even a little, is enough. Maybe it's just seeing the sunlight fall across the floor. Maybe feeling the air on your skin. Maybe hearing a bird outside. Maybe noticing the soft rhythm of your own breathing. Maybe these tiny things are more meaningful than we imagine. Maybe being here right now is a rare chance. Maybe this moment is a gift. Maybe it won't come again exactly the same way. Maybe that's why it matters to notice it gently, softly, without rushing. Maybe you've thought, I have to do so much. I have to get ahead. I have to fix everything. Maybe it's okay to set that aside for a moment. Maybe the present doesn't need fixing. Maybe it just needs noticing, maybe appreciation, maybe presence. Maybe you felt anxious, maybe worried, maybe restless. It's okay. Maybe noticing that feeling, maybe letting it be, maybe breathing softly through it. That's already a gentle, powerful choice. Maybe life is teaching us that we don't have to solve everything at once. Maybe it's about soft, small steps, maybe quiet awareness, maybe gentle kindness, maybe small acts that build something meaningful over time. Maybe you've looked at the people around you, maybe wondered if they have it all together, maybe thought, why not me? Maybe it's okay. Maybe no one has it all together. Maybe everyone is just walking their path, maybe noticing, maybe learning, maybe starting again, maybe soft, maybe slow. Maybe that's how life works. Maybe the key is presence. Maybe noticing your own thoughts. Maybe noticing your own feelings. Maybe noticing the small details that make life what it is. Maybe even tiny acts matter. Maybe one soft word, one gentle gesture, one quiet act of awareness. Maybe that's enough to start shaping your days, maybe your life. Maybe you felt stuck, maybe hopeless, maybe unsure what to do. It's okay. Maybe the first step isn't big. Maybe it's soft. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's just noticing. Maybe that's enough to begin again. Maybe the present is always here. Maybe it's always soft. Maybe it's always waiting for us to see it, to step into it. to live it gently. Maybe you've wasted time before. Maybe you've doubted yourself. Maybe you've wished for another chance. It's okay. Maybe the present moment is that chance. Maybe it's soft. Maybe it's small. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's enough. Maybe being human is rare. Maybe this chance to notice, to reflect, to act gently, to feel deeply, to live softly. Maybe that's a gift. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe continue walking this quiet path with me. Maybe noticing life together. Maybe reminding each other that each moment, each soft breath, each small choice is a rare and precious opportunity. Maybe it's okay if it's slow. Maybe it's okay if it's soft. Maybe showing up, noticing, being here gently, being present, that's enough. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe the path is quiet. Maybe it's subtle. Maybe it's soft. Maybe that's exactly how it works. Maybe showing up softly, gently, moment by moment, is all it takes. Maybe you feel like life is moving too fast. Maybe like the days slip past without you noticing. Maybe like everything is happening somewhere else and not really here. Not really now. It's okay. Maybe that's just life reminding us to slow down, to breathe, to notice, even if only a little. Maybe the present moment is all we truly have. Maybe the past is gone. Maybe the future is unknown. Maybe it's easy to forget that. Maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't have to have all the answers. Maybe we just have to notice. Maybe take one soft breath. Maybe feel one gentle heartbeat. Maybe see one small thing clearly. Maybe that's enough. Maybe you've been caught up in regrets. Maybe worrying about mistakes. Maybe wishing things were different. It's okay. Maybe noticing that softly, gently, is the first step to letting go. Maybe it doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe it just has to be present. Maybe life is giving us this chance to be awake, to notice, to step gently into what is. Maybe you felt overwhelmed. Maybe like you're not enough. Maybe like your small actions don't matter. It's okay. Maybe they do. Maybe each quiet choice, each small act, each soft thought gently shapes your days, your life, your mind. Maybe you've looked at others and thought, they have it together, I don't. Maybe that's okay. Maybe no one truly has it all together. Maybe everyone is just learning, just noticing, just starting again, softly, slowly, gently. Maybe that's how life works. Maybe the real power isn't in doing everything at once. Maybe it's in showing up, maybe noticing, maybe planting tiny seeds, maybe soft, gentle choices that grow over time. Maybe you've been afraid, maybe unsure, maybe doubting your path. It's okay. Maybe you don't need to see the whole path. Maybe you just need to take the next soft step. Maybe that's enough. Maybe life is teaching us that the present is powerful. Maybe that small moment are gifts. Maybe that we can always begin again, softly, gently, quietly. Maybe you worry that you're too late. Maybe that the chance has passed. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe the present moment is here. Maybe waiting, maybe soft, maybe patient, maybe forgiving. Maybe this is a chance to notice, to feel, to breathe, to act gently, to live softly. Maybe being human is rare. Maybe this life, this chance to reflect, to notice, to make soft choices, to act with care, to breathe and see. Maybe it's precious. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe we can continue walking this quiet path together. Maybe noticing life. Maybe noticing ourselves. Maybe reminding each other that each small step, each gentle moment, each soft breath is a rare and precious opportunity. Maybe it's okay if it's slow. Maybe it's okay if it's soft. Maybe showing up, noticing, being present, gently, softly. That's enough. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe the path is subtle. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's soft. Maybe that's exactly how it works. Maybe showing up softly, gently, moment by moment, is all it takes. Maybe you've made it this far. Maybe you've been listening quietly. Maybe something here feels familiar. Maybe it feels new. It's okay. Maybe that's what this moment is for. To notice, to breathe, to feel, maybe just to be. Maybe life isn't about doing everything perfectly. Maybe it's about showing up softly, gently, with awareness. Maybe you felt lost before, maybe unsure what to do, maybe wondering if you matter. It's okay. Maybe you do. Maybe your small choices, your soft actions, your gentle thoughts quietly shape your world, maybe more than you realize. Maybe you felt heavy, maybe burdened, maybe like you're carrying too much. Maybe it's okay to pause, maybe to breathe, maybe to let a small weight go, maybe to notice one tiny thing around you, maybe a sound, maybe a color, maybe the feeling of your own hands resting. Maybe that's enough. Maybe the present moment, soft and fleeting, is all we ever truly have. Maybe life whispers to us in these quiet spaces, maybe reminding us to notice, maybe reminding us that each breath, each soft thought, each gentle choice is precious. Maybe you've doubted yourself, maybe thought your life is ordinary, maybe felt like it doesn't matter. It's okay. Maybe being human is rare. Maybe this life is fragile. Maybe this chance to notice, to feel, to choose, to act gently is a gift. Maybe it's okay if it's small. Maybe it's okay if it's soft. Maybe each day is an opportunity to plant tiny seeds. Kindness, awareness, patience, compassion. Maybe you felt too busy, maybe distracted, maybe worried. Maybe that's normal. Maybe noticing one soft thing today, maybe showing up gently, maybe breathing through a single moment of challenge. Maybe that's enough. Maybe tomorrow, another soft step. Maybe the next day, another. Maybe this is how life unfolds, slowly, quietly, gently, beautifully, moment by moment. Maybe you've been waiting for clarity, maybe a sign, maybe a solution. Maybe this is it. The quiet, gentle reminder that life is always happening now, that you can notice it, that you can choose it, that you can live it softly, fully, gently. Maybe the power is in showing up, maybe in being present, maybe in letting kindness and awareness guide you more than worry or fear. Maybe it's okay to start small. Maybe it's okay to start now. Maybe you've listened, maybe you felt, maybe you've imagined a life that's quieter, softer, more gentle. Maybe that life is waiting for you in each present moment. Maybe it's okay if it's not perfect. Maybe it's okay if it's slow. Maybe being here, noticing, breathing, choosing gently, that's enough. Maybe life is a series of small, precious moments, each one rare, each one fleeting, each one an opportunity. Maybe, if this whispers to you even a little, maybe you can subscribe. Maybe we can keep noticing together. Maybe we can remind each other that life is fragile, rare, precious, and ours to experience gently, softly, fully. Maybe tomorrow we try again. Maybe the day after we plant another seed. Maybe each soft, quiet choice shapes who we are and who we become. Maybe that's enough. Maybe showing up moment by moment, softly, gently, is all it ever takes. And maybe, in that gentle presence, we discover what it truly means to live, aware, kind, soft human here now.